I'd say just look at where you're practicing. Probably the number one thing I could say that's one of the only blanket statements everybody can probably practice their short game for, which isn't a popular thing to hear, but it's just the truth. If you can't put the ball in the hole and chip it on the green, you're not going to be able to swing a 100-mile-an-hour driver anywhere you want to find the ball. So definitely that's probably number one is let's start next to the hole and work our way out.
Hey, welcome everybody. This is Dr. Troy from Pain to Play, and I'm here with my golf instructor, John Eisentrout. He's been a professional golfer. He's been playing since he was 13. I went to the St. Martin's University in Lacey, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct,
Yeah,
John? So you played there, you
absolutely.
you were assistant coach, and now you're at Westside here in beautiful Vancouver. You've been working with me for the last couple of years. You've worked with my children, and so I'm excited to have you on today. And I guess we'll just get right to it. And I want to kind of see, this podcast is all about people who are in pain, and then how do we get them from pain to play better? So, what are some of the big conditions, like maybe the top three conditions that you see people suffer from when they're wanting to play golf?
Yeah, thanks again, Troy, for having me. That was a nice introduction. Appreciate that.
Absolutely.
So, so, the main thing every golfer typically complains with is what back pain, right? So there's an interesting thing with that. Normally, it doesn't originate with the back. There's a dysfunction somewhere nearby, or even sometimes further down the chain, that creates a problem where they can't get a backswing properly through, say, my number one is the hips. If the hips are not mobile, they're going to try to get their backswing probably with the lower back at some point. And so we do a lot of times TPI screens or some version of that to where, okay, I got to see, is this player mobile in the right areas? And more often than not, if they aren't, they're going to have some dysfunction either in their swing mechanics and they just stop short and they don't hit it anywhere, or they create some problems with their body and that leads to pain.
Yeah.
So I'd say like internal, external rotation of each hip. Um, that would be the first place most people fall short.
Hmm.
A lot of times we'll check and see from like the forward bend and down the chain with the knees and the ankles, can they do a full squat? So if that's not possible, it's really hard to get into an impact position properly. Um, and then probably the last one I'd say is everything that has to do with shoulder elevation, whether it's rotator cuff or your elevators, your lat muscles. Can you get your arms to go above your head without trying to find some other way besides your shoulders to do that?
Yeah. Yeah.
If you can't lift your arms, the backswing gets real tough.
Yeah. And
Absolutely,
what
I think.
those are three. What about wrist? Do you ever see wrist stuff too with people?
Yeah, so probably less often. From an impact standpoint, I'm a right-handed player. I'm trying to get the handle ahead of the ball. If I can't flex my lead wrist this way, extend my right wrist like so, that's going to be a really tough endeavor. So then we get into dysfunction with pivot, trying to get your body ahead of the ball, which now we can't elevate it. So yeah, wrist sometimes can really lead to poor impact positions.
Yeah, and it's interesting you talked about the hip mobility because we see that all the time in the office. People will come in, they've got hip issues, and then it trashes their low back, and they come in and they present with back pain, and it's the whole lower body is just locked up. So I like to give them exercise and different things to do to help improve that flexibility and strength. So golf's kind of an interesting thing because it's like you can never perfect it. That's why I like it because there's always something to learn. Every time I have a lesson with you, I will always walk away. I go, "Oh, I'm the best golfer in the world now," and then, you know, something else comes into play. So, yeah, it's pretty amazing. So, I've had fun in the last couple of years working with you and just watching you hit the ball. And I go, "Wow, hopefully I can hit the ball as good as John when I grow up one of these days." What are some of the like three things maybe that like for just like the I've seen some really good golfers work with you. I remember one guy I saw him and I go, "Who's that guy? He looks like he's a tour player." So I know you got some high caliber guys, but most of us aren't that high caliber. What would you say are like the top three things that you work on with like the average golfer in like one of your lessons, let's say?
Yeah, the biggest one is just making good contact and seeing a ball go in the air. So when you're starting out, it's all the boring stuff, you know, getting your setup relatively consistent in a way that provides an opportunity to make a good turn and provide some loft under the ball. So, you know, that's kind of the first order of business. And then I like to work kind of from the inside out. So we don't work on your hands and wrists necessarily first thing. We're gonna see, can you rotate? Can you leverage properly where you're not moving all over the place, either up and down or laterally? And then we kind of move more into the finer things. And okay, how do you load your arms and shoulders and wrists? Probably after that, but you know, everybody's a little different. So that initial meet really decides kind of the direction we're going to go, and it's everybody's their own person. It's never the same, which is why I love teaching. It's always a new problem. It's a puzzle. That's the fun part.
Yeah, and everybody's got their own little problem, you know? That's what I say.
Yeah. Yeah, we're all human. So you have your pattern and your body that probably matches up or doesn't with whatever you're doing, and we try to marry the two where okay,
Yeah,
this limitation you can do this in your swing, and okay, this you can't, and let's not try to do that.
yeah, and one of the things I like about you is you know, like with the technology that you have, you can record the swing, we can play it back, we can look at it, and then it's like, "Hey, go work on this stuff." And so, I mean, I'm just like, you know, I thought everybody would be at the range every day hitting balls, but I played with the guy the other day, and he walked away, and I think I had to give him a ball on every hole because he lost all his balls, and he walked away and he goes, "Man, maybe I should take some lessons." And I'm like, "Well, go see my buddy John, you know, he'll help you out." So that's the fun part about it. So any other things that you would recommend for people that you know, want to improve their golf game and have more fun?
Yeah, I'd say just look at where you're practicing. Probably the number one thing I could say that's one of the only blanket statements everybody can probably practice their short game for, which isn't a popular thing to hear, but it's just the truth. And, you know, if you can't put the ball in the hole and chip it on the green, that you're not going to be able to swing a 100-mile-an-hour driver anywhere you want to find the ball. So definitely that's probably number one is let's start next to the hole and work our way out.
Yeah. And I think that's probably a good thing as a coach is start them with the putter in their hand.
Yeah, yeah. You know, I'm playing a balancing act between giving a player kind of the things that are entertaining and what they really want. And then I try to sprinkle in the things they need. So that's probably a way to put it.
Well, I'll tell you this: when I did a putting lesson with you, we hooked up to the technology and we tried some different putters and things, and I was amazed because you showed me with this certain putter that had 11% more accuracy, and I didn't change anything other than the putter. And so, you know, getting the right equipment, I think for me, you know, I when I started again, I just made the investment, bought the right equipment, and I think it makes a difference because, I mean, they last forever if you take care of them. So you've been a good resource for that for me and my family.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, here at Westside we have Sam Lab, and this is probably the most recent thing I've been really diving into more. You know, learning from Garth and his experience with David Orr and how they match up, like the MOI, the rotation of the putter with your stroke type. And there's a lot of bad information actually around putters, just from the nature of like a lot of people want to sell putters. It makes sense. You know, the newest, latest thing with no real research around it to back
Yeah.
it up. And so
Yeah.
we try to stick to things that have been proven and tried and true. And sometimes that is the latest trend, and sometimes more often it's not. I know Garth likes to talk about everybody would do better with a bullseye putter, which isn't something you see much these days, but he's probably not far off.
Yeah. Well, you know, he's been doing it a long time.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I remember when I first started with him, I'd watch him chip and I go, man, that looks easy. And you'd always say, it's not. So that's just years of practice and knowledge. So it's kind of fun, man. I enjoy having you as my coach, and you know, if people want to come see you, I mean, I'm sure they could fly in from somewhere and just have a couple hour lesson with you. I'm sure you would do that for somebody. What's the best way to get a hold of you, John?
Yeah, best way is probably through my email. It's John at eisentroutgolf.com, EISEN trout. I'm decent at responding on time, but if not, just wait a day.
Well, it's that new baby you got, so that kinda distracts you a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a nice season of life is figuring out how do you work around all the time the baby needs. So that's been fun too.
Yeah, yeah, so that's
You've been
awesome.
there, done that though 3 times, right? Or 2 times by now. 3 times. 3 times by
Well, that makes you a complete man when you have a baby and a family and, all that. So, well, anyway, I appreciate you jumping on here today, taking time out of your busy schedule. And I'm looking forward to my next lesson with you. And that little, strengthen your grip thing helped the other today on the range and the drive today. So it was good.
Good to hear it. Thanks, Troy. I appreciate it.
All
We'll see
right,
you
John,
soon.
I'll see you soon. And if anybody's looking for a new coach, John's the guy. Thanks again, John.